Thank you very much, Guy. Yep, that was a painting of the lonely tree in Snowdonia of Wales. And by the way, all those all the bits of music that you hear in the intervals is by me. You can check it out. The name of the band is Iparaten, spelled capital E, capital P, Iraten. Go and find the music on Bandcamp, or you can hear on Spotify, and that's another great way of supporting this stream, just by giving that a like. So welcome back, everybody. This is Simon, and we're talking today about the Battle of Waterloo. We've had the opening salvo and the initial attack by the French on the Chateau of Hougoumont. Now, Hougoumont is just below us over here somewhere. I'm just gonna wheel around. Let's talk about Hougoumont for a little bit. Actually, let's. This is a Hougoumont farm just here, where the cursor is right now. This is basically a large farm. It's part manor house. At the time in 1815, the building here is around about 200 years old already. And it was designed, these farms were designed to be in a sort of courtyard, semi-fortified buildings. If we just pause here and jump out, just going to have a closer look at it. Inside these courtyards, it had which is at the far end here, by the way. This is the sort of whoops. Let's look down now. You can see the courtyard. This is the sort of complex here. Whoops, there we go. And what you've got is a manor house, a farmhouse. This little building. Just whoops, wrong way. This little building here is actually a chapel, and so it's kind of like a enclosed little sort of community. There's a large barn. There's this is the chateau part here, and it had farmers' dwellings, and all the buildings are sort of connected with high walls around. The roofs and the floors, they were made of wood, and so they were combustible. But the walls themselves are made of brick, stone, and were pretty much resistant to artillery fire of the day. I mean, if you concentrated over a long period of time, you'd probably get through, but you know, it would probably stop a cannonball to begin with. The grounds which we're talking around about, this is kind of like an orchard. It had a wall around it, and around the wall was ditches. It was kind of their method of, because it didn't have barbed wire, ditches were a good way of keeping cattle in an area. This wood occupied was in this area here, and these had some very large trees in it, so it disguised where the position of the chateau, as I said, and it was difficult or near impossible for any French artillery to fire from up here and hit the chateau itself. So the formal garden, which I think there might have been an orchard over here as well, but this formal garden here had a 6-foot high wall around it, and banked up with the ditches. And the other key feature of this battlefield was this area here. Now, it's not so easy to spot, but I believe somewhere down here there is what was known as the sunken lane. I think it was called the Hollow Way at the time. It basically ran down here and then up onto the position here. It's probably maybe this road here. You might be able to see elements of it. This bit here might show some. You can just see, I think there, look, the way it dips down. I think that was a sunken road. It was a hollow way, and this basically enables the British to bring down ammunition and reinforcements and be protected from the French in doing so. Now, Victor Hugo, we love a bit of Victor Hugo here. We mentioned, he said, Hougoumont, this is the fatal spot, the beginning of the resistance, the first check encountered at Waterloo by this great butcher of Europe called Napoleon, the first knot under the axe. And he goes on to say, this bit of earth, could he have taken it, would perhaps have given him the world. So it was a very important position on the day. The fight for Hougoumont actually began on the 17th of June when Wellington was pulling back to this position. Then the light companies of the 4 Guards regiments were sent down here to occupy the position, and in so doing they actually had to push back a French unit, a small French unit that was trying to occupy the position. And so 2 light companies of the 1st Guards under Lieutenant Colonel Lord Sultan managed to win that skirmish here on the evening of the 17th. And then they managed to occupy the orchard and the eastern part of the woods here. 2 light companies then of the 2nd Guards under Lieutenant Colonel MacDonald. They move in and occupy the walled garden and the buildings in the western portion of the woods as well. Early on the 18th, Wellington is obviously concerned about this position, and he then moves another 2 units forward in support of these 4 light companies. And these were the 300 Hanoverian riflemen and the Nassau battalion from the Saxe-Weimar Brigade. And the Nassau's appear to have been deployed in a line behind the hedge at the southern end of the pasture. And the Hanoverians were held the southern border of the woods. So I'm not exactly sure where the edge of the woods is. I believe it's here, where this darker patch is. And so this is where the Hanoverians were lined up. And when we talked about Wellington, he was up, got up in the morning, came down, and he started riding along his position, trying to assess the what happened. He actually comes down to Hougoumont to review it. And is believed to be around in this area somewhere, watching the preparations of the French. And he believes that it's said that he sees Rail's corps deploying between. He says it's between the Nivelle and the Genappe Road. So I think that's the road that heads down towards Nivelle. And so where he's saying is basically he's seeing him forming up in this area here. Now, Rail's corps had at least 3 divisions in it, and so what we get is Jerome Bonaparte's division formed up on the western side, so we're talking over here. We have Foy's division in the center, and then Bachelu's on the eastern side. And remember, these are the divisions that had fought at Quatre Bras on the 16th. The Nassau's, I believe they were also a unit that fought on the 16th. There was only they were in this area here, and they believe that they were only around about 300 yards away. So we're talking possibly trying to occupy the woods here, like they had done at the Bossu Wood at Quatre Bras. And but they were their morale had been hit hard, and they were verging here on panic when they're seeing 3 divisions lining up in front of them. And it's believed that Wellington had to come down here and personally sort of boister them. And there was reports at the time that when Wellington was down here and talking to these Nassau's, he then turned to ride back up the hill. And as he turned to ride away, someone, one of the Nassau's, shot towards him. Actually discharged a musket towards him. Whether or not it was deliberate or not, or it was just a loud shot into the air, or it was just someone clearing their musket, which was common in the morning when they were trying to prepare. The Duke himself, the Duke of Wellington himself, took it as a unintentional discharge, whether he needed that message to be spread because he didn't want to appear unpopular. The point being is that shot possibly, if it was intentional and it had been aimed, could have ended the Duke of Wellington's life here, and that might have made changed the course of the battle without Wellington's personal sort of touches and moments during the course of the day. So, yeah. Wellington moved back towards into Hougoumont. We're talking just before this the fighting begins, by the way, and he's talking. He checks on MacDonald's preparations. He checks on the banks, the parapets, and the loopholes that have been made in the walls, and apart from the gate here, which is this corner here, so apart from that gate there, all the other gates are blocked and barricaded. And flooring had been removed from the buildings to build these parapets to allow the troops to stand up and fire down and bayonet attackers on the walls. And so yes, so the fighting has begun. Another example of the times and what time they will change and differ. So Hill, he says that he had. I took 2 watches into action with me. On consulting my stopwatch after the battle was over, I found that the first gun was fired 10 minutes before 12. So that's another time. So we've now got 3 times, 3 mentions. One is 11:20. One is some time between 11:20 and 12, and now we've got another one that's saying it's 10 to 12. So we're looking at least a disagreement, but around about sort of 40 minutes before 12 o'clock. And that's when the first attack, artillery bombardment begins, when the French attack here at Hougoumont. So, as I say, the most western division of Rail's division, which is commanded by Jerome Bonaparte, which is an interesting choice, begins with him attacking forwards. Of course, this is Jerome Bonaparte, so the name is... I'm not sure, you see, whether this attack is meant to be full force or is meant to drag so many resources into it from the French perspective, but we can discuss that later. From Wellington's position over here, so we believe Wellington was probably in this area, maybe. Looking down, then he sees, from this position, he can see the French moving down towards Hougoumont here. And that gives him the impression, this is his early movement, early on. Remember, he's worried about his right flank here, and his first movement of the French when he's looking over this way is movement of troops to his right. And that is a big worry for Wellington. Captain Thackwell, he was of the 15th Hussars, and he wrote a letter in 1834, and he said that I witnessed the advance of many heavy masses of infantry which attacked Hougoumont, although soon after the firing began, the distant movements of the enemy's column were from this part of the position but indistinctly seen owing to the smoke which hung lazily on the surface saturated with rain. So I'm not sure about whether these trees behind here, by the way, were here at the time. But when the attack begins, then the heavy, thick smoke begins and starts concealing the position. Now, Jerome's division moves forwards. By the way, this is all woods here, and of course they're preceded by a cloud of tirailleurs. These and the nervous Nassaus, as we like to we'll call them now, who are in this position, perform pretty well actually, delaying these French skirmishers. They had jittery nerves, but the British had managed to place small pickets of their guards in amongst them to help steady them. Maybe that was something that Wellington requested. So you have these sort of nervous troops that you're not sure of, but there's smatterings of veterans with them to steady their nerves. And remember the 300 Hanoverians. Now they're equipped with these hunting rifles. They're kind of Jaegers, are kind of hunting guys, and they're starting to inflict some serious casualties. Now this is I believe it's like a thick wood, but the undergrowth isn't so great, and so they're able to shoot individual soldiers through the trees. Now these troops are not reinforced, so it's obvious that Wellington had no intention of defending these woods so far forwards. It's too far forward of his line, so this is more of a case of delay than anything. So the light infantry here are skirmishing, denying position, delaying tactics. You know, and at the end of the day, if you think about it, this division of Jerome's is moving forwards, and it takes them an hour to get across this wood to this gap here. So they're doing their job of delaying, and that's what they're there for. And so Wellington's allowing his light companies to fall back and in front of the division, and then they get back into the ward section here. And so the French would come out of the wood as we described, and they will pop out here. And then this is where the main killing ground begins. This wall now is lined with the two light companies of the Guard, Second Guard, Hanoverian Riflemen, and the Chasseurs. They've all gone back over this wall here. You're getting reports here that the French were moving up to this wall, trying to grab the muskets, pull the muskets down off the Allies. But the first wave is repulsed, and they push the French back, and they come back into this wood to reorganize. So that's the sort of first phase of the battle for this part of the Battle of Hougoumont. Right, that's another little 20 odd minutes or so. So this would be the end of this section, and thank you for watching this far. When we come back, we'll carry on into the second phase of this battle at this end of the Battle of Waterloo. So again, I'd like to thank you for watching this far, and if you have, you're a special breed. I will, if you're watching live now, I will be back in a couple of minutes, and if not, I'll see. If you're watching on YouTube, I will see you in the next episode. Thank you.